Hi, coaches. Just want to provide an update on the performance log. A few things that weren't reviewed last time that may be affecting the functioning. First disclaimer that I would give you is honestly, don't waste your time in using this log. Pay for a system that can manage your athletes and save you all of the effort. Conduct, Coach Me Plus, even Team Builder has amazing resources. If you're going to choose to go down this path, the second thing that I would recommend is check out Dave McDowell's stuff, DSM Strength, or Adam Virgil. They have a ton of resources. They have blogs and databases that are made already that you can use. They're much more functional than this. So lastly, if you're going to choose to go down this road, I want to go over a few things in terms of functionality so that this is working for you. So I mentioned in the last video that this works on horizontal data. And what I mean by that is most databases that you'll use, I'll show you one of my old ones, uses vertical data. So athlete one, every time that I'm going to insert new testing information, I'm going to insert them again. And what's going to change is going to be the date and then the results. So over time, I would just have the same athlete inserted multiple times working vertical. Um, which works if this is just a data insert, right? That's what this is for, the input page. And then just for example, it'll show you a leaderboard based off of the date. It's going to show you the results for the date for those athletes, right? So if I change the date, that changes what's going on. This works differently. This is horizontal data. So each test is individually listed with the athlete, and I can put those dates in over time. The only reason I prefer this is it makes more sense in tracking the information, looking at each test individually. But you do run into several problems. So let's go over some of those problems. First of all, on the results page, I don't think I mentioned this right here is meant to be updated in terms of date for the body weight. If you don't set the date, you're not going to get the body weights. If you don't get the body weights, you're not going to get the Wilks number, and you're not going to get the Wilks score. So what happens is that if I set this date, it's going to pull all those body weights based on that column. Problem with that may be is that if I only have so many weights inserted for that date, it's going to leave a lot of people blank. For example, if I change this to 322, now it's only going to pull those weights, body weights for people that are listed. So that can be an issue. A workaround can be this, and I've included it. So if you go back and make a copy of the original, you'll have that. Just using this column to pull the max or the quote unquote best body weight. So it's the same way. It's the same formula that's being used in the strength stuff. It's pulling the best, and then if you want it to do that, you would just change this formula to equals, go to body weight, and then just click that cell. So equals body weight C4. So if I go back there, it's going to automatically transfer over that number. This date now becomes null, and I would just drag this down for all of them. The reason that we don't do that is we collect body weights on testing days. So I want to know the Wilks number based on that testing. This is not just a regular body weight tracker per se. It's for these results specifically. Okay, so that can change that there. The reason it says insert as well is just that those are all based on insert. Okay, so that's something that you're going to have to address. Second major thing to be aware of is that all of these athlete names are being pulled from the roster. So you see that formula listed there. It's the same on all the way across. Okay. So what that means is that when I want to add athletes, I just add them to the roster. They're automatically update. Now the problem you're going to run into here is the filter, using the filter alphabetizing. If I filter and alphabetize these athletes here, it is going to automatically change over here. But the problem that I'm going to have is that these results are not going to follow the athlete. That's a major issue. So for us, the reason it's that way is we already have the roster. And then if I just need to add people, add them at the bottom. I don't really necessarily care about alphabetical order. I can just find the athlete's name. And then on the dashboard, it's the same thing. If I start typing their name in here, it'll automatically find them. But for you, if you don't necessarily have that order, or you really want it to be alphabetized, what I recommend you do is always list the athletes here, and then you can automatically filter, sort them. Okay. But what you need to do is go into each of these tabs, body weight, and then all of your testing results, and get rid of the equals roster formula. Okay. So a simple way to do that, and then in this example, I'll show you about what I mean, is that athlete 1, 2, and then say at the bottom, if I add athlete 3 down here, it's not going to automatically um, filter them across all the tabs. It would only do that on the roster page. Okay, but the problem again is that if I change the order here, it changes the order of this column, but not the other ones. So what I recommend you do is just highlight all the athletes' names. And then what you can do is copy and then paste special values only. So now you can see what that does is it gets rid of the formula. Okay, so if I did this across all of the tabs, that would allow me to add athletes at the bottom, then filter their names here, sort A to Z, and this information would automatically follow them. Okay, you cannot currently do that based on the formula being equals roster. Okay, so if that is a hurdle, I definitely recommend get rid of that roster. Okay, anytime I add an athlete, throw them in here on the roster tab, filter the results A to Z, and then I can copy that new athlete. So say athlete number 3, I would copy it here. I would paste athlete number 3 here. All right, and now if I sort this, that data is going to automatically follow them the way that it should be. All right, I accidentally spelled athlete 3 wrong there. The other thing that you might need to do is put a 0 in front of the athlete's name. If that doesn't make sense or you're not having issues with it, leave it alone. But if you're going to change the order, that's definitely matters. Now, just to show you an example of a coach that's using the same system but has made some changes. Coach Hoover over at York Comprehensive, he changed the 20-yard to the 40. So literally all he had to do was change the name of the tab to 40, the name of the test to 40. He changed the med ball to RSI, and then he changed incline to clean. So all you have to do is update those tab names wherever that they appear. All right. And then on the dashboard, it would be the same thing. Keep the order the same, just change the name of the test, and it's still automatically going to pull all that information for you. Okay. The other thing, just to clarify, if the graph down here is looking really wonky, it could be a few things. It could be that the athlete has a 0, so it's pulling. The way that the radar chart works is it's kind of balanced. So if there's a 0, it pulls that line across. The other thing is, until you start to put in enough information, it's not going to run a formula to have your percentiles or to have your minimum or max values. So this isn't going to really work. The more you build up the data over time, the more it's going to show. But Coach Hoover did a great job just switching this information out. Last thing I'll show you is say you wanted to get rid of one of the strength workouts. All you should do, what I recommend, is just hide the tab. Say I wanted to get rid of squat. All right, so I just left click, control hide. Okay, now what you may need to do is, so that way you don't mess with any of the formulas. What I can do is just resize columns. You can mess with it. Let's just say that I wanted to make this chart come across over to M. All right, so you can mess with it that way, but I don't recommend deleting anything because it's really going to screw you up. All right, last thing, I'll link this old database if you guys want to mess with it. It shows that there's an old video that you can watch that helps you with it. This is the input page, roster page, the individual profile. You see kind of a long way back of charting that information. leaderboard. You can change the team and the date, and then it just automatically can pull percentage charts based on the date and then the athletes that you have listed. So this will be linked as well.